Alrighty, our first guest speaker of the evening is going to be the one and only, the one that booked up 10 demos, who made 48 calls in the last two phone jams, 10 demos in this team meeting phone jam. By the way, this was an hour and like 15 minutes. So really love seeing you step it up, Jeremiah. Let's pass the baton over to you. Jeremiah's talk is on pick up the phone, and he's going to teach you guys some heat on how to do what he just did during the phone jam today. Jeremiah, take it away.
Thank you for the gracious opening and intro. I don't think I deserve that, but sure, whatever. Thank you for that. Anywho, so yeah, guys, I'm Jeremiah. To the new recruits, or I actually want to say new friends, because like this is like a family. Thank you for joining us for this. Uh, Seeing all you guys on the newsletter in your first week, that's such a huge accomplishment. And I can't wait to see how much you thrive and how much you grow just being in this company. So, for starters, talking about picking up the phone, about 2 to 3 days ago, Shama and we did like a mini phone jam, whatever, at like 8:30 at night. And I remember I made 5 calls only, and I didn't book up a single demo. And at the end of that, me and Shama were like, wow, like we didn't book up any demos. Like this kind of sucks, blah, 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 whatever. I go to Champs Club in the morning at 7:30 with Jacob, and we're talking about it. And I'm like, yeah, Jacob, me and Shama did this phone jam. I did like 5 calls. I didn't really pick up any demos. And he's like, dude, you only called 5 people. Like you can't expect to book up any demos. You only called 5 people. So that leads me to the concept of expectations. It's a game of averages when you're calling and when you're setting up demos. So when you're calling people, you need to have those people set out, like make a list or whatever. That's what I do. That's why I just breeze through my list of people that I made. About 30 to 60 minutes before the phone jams, I always write down the 15 people that I'm going to call. Because again, the expectation that you should be calling 15 people every phone jam, if you're doing it correctly, is the minimum that you need to hit. Secondly, the slide in the beginning that talks about making more calls, yeah, that's great, but it's kind of hard to visualize when you're looking at it on a slide. But it really is as simple as picking up the phone, getting your names, and making the calls. We all have things, whether it's like schoolwork, whether it's doing the dishes, cleaning up the room, whatever, that you don't want to do. And that's okay. You don't have to do everything that you want to do. You know what I mean? But when you pick up the phone, you make money. It's that simple and it's that interchangeable. What was it? Today is Wednesday. Last Monday, when I went to Champs Club at 7:30, I booked up 4 demos in like 40 minutes. So I made $100 in those 40 minutes. So again, it's not always about doing what you want to do, but doing what you have to do to book up the demos. Secondly, how I mentioned earlier, it's a game of averages. About 4 every 5 calls that you make, you'll book up 1 demo. So if you're planning out your week and you're saying, okay, wow, I'm trying to hit this certain number, I need to hit this promotion, and to do so, I need to book up 10 demos. If that's the case, then you should be calling around 50 to 60 people to get that number. It's very unrealistic and unreasonable to say, I need to book up 10 demos, so I'm going to call 10 people. The averages and the game just doesn't work like that. Lastly, this game is a game of relativity. I remember when Jacob invited me to Yeb about, what was it, like a month or two ago? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at like all these people across the stage, people doing the talks, whatever. And a very common theme that happened in Yeb was the amount of calls that these individuals were making. I remember this one instance, forgive me, I don't remember the lady's name, but she was talking about how before she even gets started with work, she makes 30 calls in the morning. And if she's not making those 30 calls, then she sees the morning as unproductive. So again, when you think about these people and you hear about people like, oh, Mike Dowett making like $1 million a year, you have people like Brian who's making like 50K in a year, stuff like that. It's all because of the amount of calls that they're booking up and then the demos that they're making because of those calls. And that's all I have for you.
Give it up for Jeremiah. Woo!